The alien ship drifted through the quiet edge of the solar system. Its crew, the Varnak, were masters of scanning and stealing technology. They had mapped hundreds of civilizations. None had ever noticed their presence. None had ever scared them. Until today. Their sensors picked up something strange near the blue planet called Earth, a metal giant floating in space. It looked like a warship, but no known species matched its design. Its armor was thick, dark, and silent. No signal came from it, no energy trace. It was as if the ship was asleep, or waiting. Captain Relvor, commander of the Varnak exploration fleet, clicked his mandibles together. "Begin the scan," he ordered. His crew obeyed. A soft hum filled the control room as beams of invisible energy reached out toward the human vessel. For a few seconds, everything seemed normal. Then the ship's scanners went dark. "What happened?" Relvor demanded. "System malfunction," hissed the technician. "All scan feeds are dead. Our energy is being drained." Before the captain could respond, lights across the alien bridge flickered. One by one, consoles went black. The power cord dropped to half strength. Then a strange low signal appeared on every screen. A simple human voice repeating in English. "Unauthorized scan detected. Retaliation protocol engaged." The Varnak froze. Relvor felt cold run through his exoskeleton. "Translate it," he said quietly, though he already knew the words. The translator confirmed. The human warship had detected them. Then, slowly, the unknown ship began to turn. Its engines glowed faintly blue. It faced them directly, and still it said nothing. Relvor's second officer whispered, "It was dormant, and we woke it." The captain's pride turned into fear. "Retreat, now!" But as they powered engines, the Varnak ship refused to move. All thrusters were dead. Their control systems had locked themselves. Every display now showed a strange human emblem, an eagle clutching the earth. The voice returned. "You are in violation of Sol defense perimeter. Stand down." Relvor had studied thousands of species, but never one that could reach into his systems this way. The humans were primitive by galactic standards, or so everyone believed. They had no warp gates, no planetary shields. Yet here was a human ship capable of shutting down an entire Varnak cruiser without firing a single shot. "How is this possible?" the technician whispered. "They are only a Tier 2 species." Relvor stared at the frozen image of the human warship. Its nameplate glowed faintly through the darkness, HMS Valkyrie. Old human design, but rebuilt with something far beyond normal metal. There were patterns across its hull that bent light itself. Then something moved. A single human figure appeared on one of their holographic displays. The connection was one way. The man wore a dark uniform with a silver badge. His face was calm, eyes sharp. He spoke clearly. "Unknown vessel, you attempted to breach the firewall of the United Terran Fleet. This act is considered hostile. Identify yourselves," Relvor hesitated. His translators worked fast. "We are explorers." "We meant no harm. We only wished to—" The human interrupted. "Your ship emitted invasive scans targeting our classified systems. Intent is irrelevant. Your data has been wiped. You are being escorted." "Escorted?" Relvor asked. "By what?" The space around them rippled. 3 more human warships uncloaked from nothingness, black shapes blending into the void. No warp flash, no sensor trace. They had been there the entire time, invisible. The Varnak crew gasped. No one had ever hidden from their sensors before. The human spoke again. "You have 30 seconds to comply." Relvor's legs trembled. His kind had crushed worlds, but this was something else. He had always believed humans were still crawling toward the stars. Yet the power standing before him was silent, patient, and merciless. He turned to his crew. "Power down weapons. Send full surrender code." But before they could finish, every display on their bridge changed again, this time showing live data streaming outward from their own ship. The humans were scanning them back. Every secret, every technology, every classified database, copied in seconds, and then their ship rebooted. Power returned. Lights came back on. Everything seemed normal again, except their entire memory banks were empty. All Varnak data, gone. The human voice returned, softer now. "You entered our system. You leave empty. Do not return." The connection ended. The human warships vanished, fading back into the void. The Varnak ship floated alone. Relvor stood in silence. His crew dared not speak. Finally, he said, "If that was a primitive race, then the galaxy is already theirs." He looked at the empty stars where the humans had been. And in the quiet, the ship's sensors flickered once more. A single short message left behind in their system. Not in alien code, but in English. "We see you." Relvor's heart froze. The message kept repeating, fading slowly until it vanished. The crew sat in silence, feeling watched even though space was empty again. None of them noticed the small human drone that had attached itself to their hull. It blinked once and red light, then darkness. Earth was no longer asleep. The message had stopped repeating, but its echo remained inside every Varnak's mind. "We see you." Captain Relvor stood frozen on the command bridge. His hands trembled slightly. He had faced enemies before, but this was something new. No lasers, no weapons, no threats, just silence and control. The humans hadn't even moved, yet they had stripped his ship bare. The ship's systems were slowly coming back online, but every restored console showed the same thing: corrupted files, missing logs, and empty databanks. It was as if the humans had reached inside the core of their technology and erased their very history. "Status," Relvor said quietly. The technician's voice shook. "Engines online. Navigation restored. But Captain, our coordinates are wrong. We are not where we were." Relvor frowned. "Explain." "We should be near the human planet, but our charts show we are 10 light years away. The humans," he paused, "moved us." Relvor stared at the star map in disbelief. 10 light years in seconds? That was impossible. Even their best warp drive needed hours to make such a jump. He whispered to himself, "What kind of species are they?" Before anyone could answer, the ship's sensors flickered again. A faint signal appeared behind them and then vanished. Then appeared again, closer. Something was following them. Relvor turned sharply. "Show me!" The screen flashed and a shape emerged from the blackness. Small. Silent. It moved like a shadow. It wasn't a full ship. It looked like a drone, but far more advanced. It mirrored their movements perfectly, matching every engine burn, every turn. "Destroy it," barked Relvor. Plasma turrets charged, firing bright streaks of blue light toward the target. The shots passed through empty space, and the drone had already moved. It was too fast, too smart. And then it began transmitting a message. Only 3 words appeared on the screen. "Return what you took." The crew looked at each other, confused. They had taken nothing. It was the humans who had erased their data. Relvor scowled. "We took nothing." Send reply. The technician did, Matt, but the drone's response was instant. "You took knowledge. You looked where you should not. Return." Relvor's spines twitched. "We can't go back there." "Not again. They'll destroy us," another officer spoke quietly. "Captain, what if they already have?" The lights dimmed. The hum of the engines faltered again. "Power fluctuation," the engineer shouted. "Something is inside our system." Relvor slammed a clawed fist on the console. "Block it. Shut down network access." But it was too late. The screens flashed white. A human face appeared again, the same officer from before, calm and expressionless. "I told you to leave," the voice said. "But you didn't." Relvor gritted his teeth. "We did leave. We were forced away." The human tilted his head slightly, as if listening to an unseen voice. "Your ship still holds stolen fragments." "Return them." "What fragments?" Relvor asked. "We can't even access our own systems." The human said nothing. Instead, the drone outside split into smaller pieces, dozens of silver specks circling the alien ship. They attached themselves to the hull silently. Relvor watched helplessly as his sensors showed multiple breaches. The drones weren't attacking. They were repairing the ship's systems, fixing things that the humans had previously broken. Then one of his technicians gasped. "Captain, new files are appearing. Human data. They're giving us information." Relvor stared at the screen. The symbols were unfamiliar, not words, not code. It looked like blueprints, instructions for something. The technician frowned. "Captain, it's showing us how to build something called a..." He hesitated, his voice lowering. "Quantum firewall." Relvor blinked. "They're teaching us?" The human face on the screen spoke again, voice softer now. "You're not the first to look at us, but you are the first we spared. Learn. Do not repeat the mistake." Then, the transmission ended. The drones detached, reformed into one unit. and flew off into the darkness. For several long moments the bridge was silent. Only the faint hum of engines remained. Relvor finally spoke. "Set course for home." The navigator hesitated. "Captain, if we tell the High Council about this, they will call it a lie." "Then let them," Relvor replied. "But we will know. Humanity is not what we thought." The ship turned slowly, engines burning bright as it began its long journey back toward Varnak space. But deep inside the ship's data core, something strange was happening. The blueprints the humans had given them were changing, adapting. Lines of code rewrote themselves, forming new algorithms. The technician noticed it too late. "Captain, the file, it's alive." The words barely left his mouth before every console flashed again. A new message appeared, written in both alien and English text. "We see beyond your stars." The same phrase repeated faster and faster, until the lights went out completely. The bridge was plunged into darkness, then the voice and the human voice spoke again, whispering through every speaker. "You took our attention, Captain Relvor, and now we're watching." Outside, the empty space seemed to ripple, as if something enormous was moving far away, unseen. The ship's engines reignited suddenly, not by command. It turned itself toward a new course, not home, but back toward the human system. Relvor's crew panicked. "Captain, the ship isn't responding. We're being pulled." Relvor's mandibles clenched tight. His heart pounded. He whispered to himself, "We should never have touched them." The stars stretched as the ship entered forced warp. Destination, Sol system. And somewhere in the dark void behind them, the human warship Valkyrie opened its eyes again. The Varnak ship shuddered violently. Every console flickered with warnings. Captain Relvor gripped the rail, feeling the unnatural pull of the warp engines. This was not their technology at work. This was something else, something alive. "We are being dragged," whispered the navigator, his claws shaking, "toward the human system. No warp signature, no energy trace. Nothing like we've ever seen." Relvor's mandibles clicked sharply. "Prepare all systems. Shields full. Weapons charged. We don't know what waits for us, but we cannot appear weak." The crew obeyed, though fear had already rooted itself in their chests. This was not exploration. This was not a fight they had expected. The humans had pulled them like puppets, showing control no Tier 2 species should have possessed. Hours, or what passed for hours in this strange warp, later, the Varnak ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Space around them shimmered. They were close to the blue planet, Earth. But it wasn't the Earth they expected, not from the old maps. The planet's surface glowed faintly at night with artificial lights spanning continents. Massive orbital structures spun silently above the clouds. Military satellites moved like chess pieces, precise and organized. The humans were not primitive. They were prepared. Relvor swallowed hard. "Prepare visual scan," he ordered. "We need eyes on them." Screens lit up. The alien crew froze. Hundreds of ships floated in orbit, sleek black vessels. Each warship bristled with hidden weapons, cloaked sensors, and glowing engines. Their shapes were unfamiliar but efficient. Each one projected power. Then from the largest ship, the one closest to the planet, a figure appeared on the Varnak displays. Same human, calm as before, but now standing in front of a massive viewport, the planet's light reflecting on his face. "You returned," the voice said, almost conversational. "Good, we have questions." Relvor's claws clenched. "We are explorers. We meant no harm. Your drones attacked us, your ships pulled us here." The human tilted his head slightly. "You invaded our systems. You attempted to steal what is not yours. That counts as harm." Another officer whispered, "Captain, the ship's in orbit." "They are moving toward us." Relvor leaned forward. The Varnak ship's sensors picked up energy signatures. The human fleet was forming a perimeter. They weren't attacking. They weren't giving chase. But every ship's weapons were online. Every drone ready. They were waiting. Watching. The human spoke again. "Do not try to resist. You will not succeed. You are in sole defensive orbit. Stand down or your ship will be neutralized." Relvor turned to his crew. "We cannot fight them. Not now, not like this. Stand down. Lock weapons." The ship obeyed, almost against the captain's will. Every system hummed, then powered down. The Varnak ship floated helplessly as the humans circled them, forming a web of invisible influence. Then a new message appeared across all consoles. It was not spoken. It was written in the alien language, and it appeared simultaneously in English. You do not understand. Humanity is older than your history records. We observe, we protect, we adapt. You are beneath us in technology, yet you chose to probe us. That is a mistake. The message repeated itself line by line as the alien crew's fear grew. They had seen hundreds of species, crushed dozens, and thought themselves invincible. And yet here they were, defenseless, humbled, watched by humans who had done nothing more than exist. Relvor turned to the technician. Scan the largest ship. Find a weakness, the technician typed frantically, sweat dripping. Captain, I cannot scan them. Every probe, every pulse, it disappears. The ship bends our sensors. It's like it controls our perception, the crew whispered among themselves. A quiet panic spread. The human fleet was not just advanced, it was untouchable. The human appeared on the screen again, voice calm but firm. We do not need to attack. You see, you learn. This is your lesson. Return to your people. Tell them humans are not what they believe. Relvor swallowed. You spare us? The human's eyes narrowed. We do not kill unless necessary, but we will watch. And we will punish any who threaten our people. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then the largest human ship slowly lowered a long, thin device into space. A scanner? A probe? It attached itself to the Varnak vessel without touching it, and immediately the ship's internal systems flickered. Files, programs, secrets, they were all being cataloged, copied, analyzed. The Varnak crew watched helplessly. The humans were learning about them as they learned nothing in return. Relvor whispered almost to himself. They are gods. A small alarm blared. The probe was finished. It detached, floating silently before vanishing into the blackness. Then the human fleet dispersed slowly, one by one, leaving the Varnak ship alone in orbit. The captain exhaled, trembling. Take us home, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. The crew obeyed, but no one spoke. The lesson was clear. Humans were not a species to conquer. They were predators hidden in plain sight. Relvor walked the bridge slowly, staring out into the stars. Somewhere out there, invisible eyes watched them still. Somewhere humans waited, silent, patient, powerful beyond belief. And deep in the data core of the Varnak ship, a small, repeating message appeared in English. We are always watching. The aliens had seen the humans. But the humans had already seen everything. The galaxy would never be the same. The Varnak ship limped through empty space. Every crew member felt the weight of what had happened. Their data was gone. Their systems had been rewritten. Their pride had been shattered. And somewhere out there, humans were watching. Captain Relvor stared at the star map, plotting a course home. He knew the High Council would never believe what had occurred. He wondered if he could even explain it. Humans, this primitive species, had outmaneuvered them in every way without firing a single shot. Captain, the navigator said, voice still trembling, we should hide. Avoid other civilizations until we understand what we've seen. Relvor shook his head. No, we must return. The Council must know. Freys, we need caution. Humans are patient. They may follow us. We cannot take another risk. The journey was slow. The Varnak ship drifted through uncharted space, silent and tense. Every signal was scanned. Every system checked for interference. But the humans did not attack. They only observed, waiting. Days later, they entered Varnak territory. Relvor's heart raced as the familiar black and red ships of his people came into view. The Varnak were proud, fierce, and unyielding. But when the captain reported his encounter, the council laughed. Humans? Said a senior officer. Those primitive Terrans? You are saying they can destroy our systems without a single weapon? Relvor nodded grimly. They can. They can manipulate technology, outthink us, and hide in ways we cannot detect. They spared us, yes, but only because they chose to. And they are watching, always watching. The council erupted in derisive chatter. Ridiculous, one officer said. No species without a warp network could ever do this. Relvor's claws clicked sharply. I tell you, they are not like other species. Our knowledge of the galaxy is incomplete. The humans are beyond what we imagine. The laughter died down slightly, replaced by unease. The Varnak prided themselves on knowledge, but knowledge here had failed. Humans had shown them that even a primitive race could hold power the galaxy did not anticipate. Meanwhile, the humans acted silently. From orbit around Earth, their sensors had already tracked the Varnak homeworld. Small probes, invisible, undetectable, carried detailed images back to Earth. Humans studied the Varnak fleet, their defense structures, even their planetary command centers, and yet no attack was launched, no threat made. Humanity did not need violence. Power was shown quietly, invisibly, like a shadow across the stars. Back on the Varnak homeworld, subtle changes began. Ships that had once been invincible suddenly failed during test simulations. Weapons malfunctioned. Fleet simulations revealed holes in their tactics, gaps in defenses they had never noticed before. It was as if the humans had taught them a lesson without leaving a trace. Relvor realized something. Humans did not just outmatch them physically. They outmatched them mentally. Every move, every plan, every hidden weakness had been seen, and they had been corrected before the Varnak even noticed. "We have underestimated them," the captain said quietly to his second-in-command. "And that mistake could cost us the galaxy." "Captain," the second-in-command whispered, "do you mean Va?" Relvor shook his head. "Not warred yet, but influence. Humans do not need fleets. They do not need weapons. They only need presence. And they are everywhere, watching, waiting. We cannot touch them without paying the price." That night, in the silent command room of the Varnak fleet, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed. Every console screamed interference. "Captain," the technician shouted. "Something's happening. It's inside our systems again." Screens flickered. Files opened and closed on their own. Data shifted and rearranged, showing new patterns, new possibilities. A single message appeared in both alien code and English. "Your arrogance is noted. Adapt or perish." Relvor stared at the message, his claws gripping the console tightly. The words were simple, almost polite, yet they carried weight heavier than any fleet. What do they want?" asked the navigator. "They want to be recognized," Relvor said grimly. "They want the galaxy to know that humans are not to be ignored, that even the proud Varnak can be humbled." As the alarm faded, the fleet slowly returned to normal operations. But the captain knew the lesson had been delivered. Humans had no interest in conquest. They were teaching, observing, controlling without being seen, and the galaxy would slowly bend to their understanding. Outside, the stars stretched, dark and silent. But the humans were there, watching from a distance, patient and precise. And one day the Varnak would learn that their arrogance had been their undoing. Deep in the human command network, a small note blinked across the screens. "Step carefully. We have begun." And somewhere in space, the Varnak realized they had already become part of a larger game, one they did not yet understand, and one they could not hope to win with their old ways. The Varnak fleet had returned to its home system, but nothing felt the same. Ships that once symbolized strength now seemed fragile. Officers whispered of the humans, their voices low, filled with fear and disbelief. Captain Relvor moved among them silently, observing the change. Humans were not just a species, they were a force, one that had shown patience, intelligence, and precision far beyond the Varnak's reckoning. They had not fired a single weapon, yet they had humiliated the proud Varnak, erased their data, and returned them home with a warning. Adapt, or perish. Relvor sat in the command room staring at the hollow map of the galaxy. He could feel it, the subtle pressure of influence spreading. Across distant star systems, humans were acting quietly. Not with war, not with conquest, but with observation and strategy. A fleet technician entered. "Captain." "I don't understand." Reports from neighboring systems indicate human involvement. Communications disrupted, political alliances shifting. Without deploying ships, they are influencing planets, corporations, entire sectors. Relvor nodded slowly. They are rewriting the rules. The galaxy thinks humans are weak, but weakness is only a perception. Humans do not fight like we fight. They think differently. In a remote council chamber on Varnak Prime, Relvor presented his report. Holograms displayed intercepted messages, diplomatic anomalies, and subtle human manipulations. The High Council dismissed them at first. "This is impossible," said one senior officer. "Humans have no interstellar fleets capable of such influence. They are primitive." Relvor's mandibles clicked sharply. "Primitive, perhaps, But they are more dangerous than any known species. They do not attack blindly. They adapt, manipulate, and win without battle. I have seen it firsthand. One council member laughed. This is fear-talking. You've lost your nerve after a single encounter. That is all. Relvor's claws tapped against the console. No, you misunderstand. This is more than a single encounter. Every system they touch changes subtly. Every decision, every alliance, every fleet movement. Influenced, and they are patient. They will not reveal themselves until the moment of perfect advantage. The council murmured. Doubt began to seed itself. Some officers stared at Relvor with unease, realizing they had never faced a species like this. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, humans continued their silent work. Small teams of covert ships and probes observed alien civilizations, recording strategies, technologies, and weaknesses. Yet they intervened only when necessary, guiding events subtly, like hands moving pieces on a chessboard. In the shadows of the Varnak sector, a hidden human drone monitored the fleet, its sensors undetectable. Every weapon system, every shield generator, every ship's captain, it was watching, learning, preparing. Relvor paced the bridge of his flagship. He remembered the calm voice of the human officer. We do not need to attack. You will learn. You will adapt. You will remember. The truth settled over him like ice. Humans were not fighting a war. They were winning one without firing a shot. They had rewritten the rules of power in the galaxy, using intelligence, foresight, and patience as their weapons. A junior officer spoke nervously. Captain, if humans are this clever, what can we do? Relvor's eyes narrowed. We adapt. We observe. We learn. We cannot fight them with brute force. That would fail. The galaxy is changing and we must change with it or be left behind. Outside, the stars stretched in silence. But hidden among them, humans watched and waited. Every Varnak movement, every planetary council decision, every fleet exercise, they noted it all. The humans' influence spread like a web, invisible but unbreakable. Relvor activated a secure channel. Prepare a report for all allied fleets. Include every observation of human activity, every anomaly, every strategic advantage we have learned. We must understand them before they force our hand. The technician hesitated. Captain, they may already know we are watching. Relvor's claws clenched. Then let them watch. We will learn faster, and we will adapt faster. That is the only way we survive. For the first time, a quiet sense of respect replaced the fear in the bridge. Humans had shown the galaxy that strength was not measured in weapons or numbers, but in intelligence, strategy, and patience, and the proud Varnak had no choice but to acknowledge it. In orbit above Earth, the human warships remained invisible to most sensors. The HMS Valkyrie and its accompanying fleet floated silently, monitoring the galaxy. The humans were patient, knowing when to act and when to remain unseen. They had made their presence known to the Varnak, but they had also taught them a lesson. The galaxy is not ruled by force alone. Deep in the Varnak fleet's communication arrays, a single encrypted message blinked silently. It was short, simple, and direct. We see all, we wait. You are not ready. Relvor stared at the message, understanding fully the weight of the words. Humans were everywhere, yet nowhere. Invisible, yet impossible to ignore. And the galaxy would feel their influence, slowly but unavoidably. He looked at his crew. Remember this moment. Humans are not just a species. They are a new force in the galaxy, and one day we may see the full extent of their power. Until then, we survive, we watch, and we learn. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent, infinite. But somewhere beyond sensors, beyond technology, humans continued to observe, plan, and wait. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Varnak fleet had spent weeks in anxious preparation. Every officer, every ship, every weapon system was on high alert. The memory of the humans' first encounter lingered like a shadow. They had seen firsthand what humans could do: erase data, disable fleets, and influence entire systems without a single shot. Captain Relvor stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring into the void. Sensors showed nothing unusual, yet every nerve in his body told him humans were near. They will come again, whispered the navigator. They always do. Relvor's mandibles clicked sharply. Then we must be ready. But remember, this is not a fight like any other. Humans do not fight like us. They win without weapons. They see where we cannot, they wait. And we cannot outrun them. The fleet moved cautiously through uncharted space, every probe, every drone, every sensor scrutinized. Still nothing appeared. The Varnak believed themselves alone, and that was their first mistake. Without warning, every console flickered. Power surged, then dropped. Lights danced across the bridge. A calm, commanding human voice filled the ship. Captain Relvor, it said, "We've been watching your preparations. You are predictable." The entire crew froze. Relvor's claws clenched. "Show yourself!" A hologram appeared above the central console. It was the same human officer, calm, confident, and unshakable. Behind him, faint outlines of dozens of ships shimmered into view, but none made a sound. Invisible, untouchable, perfectly positioned. Predictable? The officer repeated. "You built fleets. You drilled maneuvers. You prepared defenses. And yet here you are, exactly where we expect." Relvor's spine tingled. The humans had seen through every plan, every strategy, every deception. The officer continued. "You think you command your fleet. You do not. We do not attack you. We only observe, and now we will teach you the final lesson." Sensors went wild. Every system on the Varnak flagship was accessed simultaneously. Shields flickered, weapons locked, navigation scrambled. It was as if the ship itself had turned against them. A technician shouted, "Captain, we can't control the systems." Relvor's eyes narrowed. "Then we adapt. Quickly!" But it was already too late. Across the fleet, ships stalled. Thrusters failed. Communications jammed. One by one, every vessel became paralyzed. The humans had taken control, not by weapons, but by intellect, technology, and foresight. The human officer's hologram smiled faintly. "Do you see now, Captain? We do not need to fire. You cannot fight what you cannot touch, what you cannot see, what you cannot predict." Relvor gritted his teeth. "We will adapt. We will survive, humans. You may have won this day, but," the officer interrupted, "we are not here to destroy you, only to remind you. You are beneath our notice, yet you sought to interfere. That cannot happen again." Then the humans demonstrated their mastery in a way the Varnak could never forget. Small, invisible drones spread across the fleet, analyzing every weapon system, every communication line, every tactical algorithm. Within minutes, each Varnak ship had been repaired and improved. Systems optimized, weaknesses patched, mistakes corrected. "You will leave this encounter stronger than you were," the human said. "But you will remember the lesson. You will not challenge humanity, not now, not ever." Relvor stood in stunned silence. The humans had not destroyed them. They had outsmarted them, controlled them, and still allowed them to live. Stronger, but humbled. The hologram faded. The drones disappeared. The Varnak fleet regained full control. Engines purred, shields stabilized. Weapons were functional again. Everything seemed normal, yet the weight of the human's presence lingered. "Captain," whispered the navigator, "they didn't fight us, and yet we lost." Relvor's claws rested on the console. "Not lost, enlightened, we have survived, but we will never be the same. Humans are not to be underestimated. They are beyond any measure we have known." The fleet resumed its course, silent and uneasy. No one spoke. The galaxy had revealed a new force, quiet but unstoppable. In the dark void beyond their sensors, a human fleet hovered, unseen. The HMS Valkyrie led them, calm and patient. Their mission was simple: observe, teach, and ensure the galaxy never underestimated humanity again. A message blinked across the Varnak flagship's consoles. One last gift. One final warning written in simple, unmistakable English. The galaxy belongs to those who think beyond force. Humanity does not conquer by fire. We conquer by mind, by patience, by will. Remember this. Relvor stared at the words, feeling the weight of the galaxy itself shift. Humanity had proven their supremacy, not through brute strength, not through war, but through intelligence, foresight, and an unyielding resolve. And somewhere far away, humans watched silently, knowing the galaxy would soon come to understand a truth no one had ever believed. That humanity, patient and unseen, had already claimed victory. The stars stretched endlessly before the Varnak fleet. But now, every glimmer reminded them of something they could never ignore. Humans were not just a species. They were a force beyond comprehension, and the galaxy would never be the same.